Alright, in this video, I want to go over how I can save you from losing a lot of money and instead make a lot of money and keep it in crypto. If you want to end up losing money, then sure, skip this video. But if you're newer to crypto and you're not experienced, this is really a video that is super important for you to just listen to and really think about and digest and imagine your life like if you don't do these things. So I'm going to go over 4 stories. First one, and these are all real examples, was a friend who was racking in the dough on a really huge move, and he wanted me to get into something. So basically, let's just say the drop from 63,000 to 29,000, right? His friend makes a ton of money shorting the market, and he wants you to play leverage. And the problem is this. Most people who actually make a lot of money on a single play statistically end up burning all that money. And you have to ask yourself why. And that's simply because, think about it. If you are trading and you only have a portfolio of $10,000 and you suddenly make $250,000, imagine how happy you would feel, right? You would start throwing money into everything and you'd start losing all that money. And it's because you're not trained to handle that kind of money. And so just realize that the lesson for you is yes, you may make a move like this, but you're going to lose your risk management. And it's something that you're going to have to pay a lot of attention to. But also just realize that most people are going to end up losing the money that they make in crypto. And so what you have to do is stick to certain rules. And I'm going to go over some of these rules later. But you also have to fight FOMO, right? Because we're looking at it from the lens of a friend who just made a lot of money and he wants you to get into what he's doing. And it's just like, no, you can't jump into the FOMO that you feel, and you have to just find your own way in crypto. And so that might mean that you have been focusing on gaming IDOs and you're making money in that way. And then you try to jump into say NFTs because a friend has been making money in that. And, lo and behold, in the bear market, he ends up losing a lot of money. And you don't know that. All you did was here in the moment of time when he was crushing it. And so you venture into the NFTs and now you lose a lot of money instead of spending the time on gaming IDOs and just crushing it there. Now, this is just one story example. These are all going to be somewhat similar, but they're different lessons to really share, and there are different ways to do it. So there's a friend who tells me he was up like 5x, and you're thinking like, oh my God, this guy's crushing it. And then you later hear that he's down 30% because he never took profits. And I've heard this happen so many times. I'm sure you've had this happen so many times. I actually had a friend who was up like 300x on something and he doubled down on it instead of taking profits. And it's just like, you go from a winning position to a so-so position. And really the lesson is you just have to learn to take profits in crypto and you have to be okay with it. You will never be able to sell the top and you will never be able to buy the bottom. There will be cases when you can, but I mean, like, you can't consistently do that. And so just learn that, hey, when you're up 2x, take some profits. When you're up 5x, maybe take all the profits. Maybe it goes to 30x, and that's okay because, you've already made 5x. And to make 5x in the real world is insane. That's not easy to do. And it's just like you have to learn to be okay with that. If you don't, you're training your mind to just like screw you over later on, and you don't want that. So again, ignore FOMO, and I would even say ignore the gains of friends. Like, be happy for them, celebrate it, and move on. So a friend tells you he's made 400K in a single trade, and you're like, oh my God, like, great job, like, that's so cool. And you feel FOMO, and you're like, all right, whatever. And then he tells you he made another 400K, and you're like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And then you're now asking, like, how'd you do it? And he's like, oh man, I put in like, $500,000 into Bitcoin and it's gone up by a lot. And then you're like, okay, well, this is interesting. Let me do that. Let's say a different coin because I'm sure my audience is already, aware of this stuff. Let's say we stick it into a newer coin like Meta Wars or something like that, right? And the problem with this is that people who go YOLO into trades, they may win a few trades, but then they YOLO harder. And then they go into one trade for $1 million and then they lose negative 50%. And so the lesson here is to keep your money. You have to do risk management. And that means something like this. You may not dump all your money into a degen play. Let's say you have 50K and you dump 50K in and you make what? 3x and you're at 150,000. And then you're like, oh yes, I have a lot of money. This kind of relates back to story one where you just like get into a state of euphoria and you start losing all risk management and you just start aping like crazy. I believe that the better way and the better approach is if you have 50K, spend something like 1% of your portfolio, which is like $500, and you make trades with $500 and you try to get consistently winning trades. Because the reality is let's say your win rate is 50%. If you keep losing like 50% of, let's say, $5,000, which is 10% of your portfolio, you'll end up losing a lot more than you'll end up gaining. And so you have to just practice strong risk management where it's something like 1%, where if you lose it, it's okay. If you win it, it's not a crazy amount of money, but it's these consistent, steady gains that help you out, especially when you're learning crypto early on. It is so important that you only spend about 1% of your portfolio and then prove the method, right? You may feel FOMO that you made 3x off of $500 and you're like, oh, if only I stuck in $10,000. No, what if you stuck in $10,000 and you're down 50%? That's a horrible thought. You know what I mean? Like, don't think that this is like horrible advice and costing you money or whatever. Like, you're going to end up losing more money than you're gaining if you're not practicing risk management. And especially if you hit a jackpot, you're going to end up burning that money really hard, really fast. Most people, it's really hard for them to sit on money that they just earned in a stable coin. And I'm sure you know this just thinking about it, right? If you just made $150,000 and you only have $10,000, you're going to be like, oh my God, let me just dump, I got to make more. Let me dump it in this coin, this coin, this coin. You're just going to dump it in like 20% of your portfolio and stuff, and then you're going to lose it all. And that's just a horrible idea. So don't do that, right? Practice your level of risk management, whether it's 2%, 3%, whatever, but under 5% is what I recommend. The last mistake, I see it quite a lot, and there's a lot more than this, but these are just major ones, is that you have people who try to do everything in crypto. And to give you some reference, when I got into NFTs, I lost tens of thousands of dollars. When I got into DeFi, I lost like $7,000. When I got into solid coins, I lost a lot of money at first. It's going to take you some time to learn and figure out. And that's why it's important to do that 1% risk that we were talking about. But it's so much better if you can figure out one area and just master it, right? So like with the IDO stuff that I do on my channel, I've gotten decently good at it. And I just picked the most efficient IDO things for me. And now I'm researching things like gaming and other things. And it's just like, it's okay to do that because, in my opinion, I've done well with IDOs. I've spent the time to really learn it and understand it, and I know what's going on, and I've researched quite a lot. And so now I can move on to something else. But if you're still trying to figure out IDOs and you're trying to get into NFTs as well, and then you're trying to get into gaming, and then you're trying to get into the solid blue chips and then the layer ones, and you're trying to figure that out, it's like you're going to get nowhere. And so make sure that you are trying to figure out one thing at a time and mastering it, and you'll end up finding yourself making a lot more money. I know that this isn't the typical video I do, but this is just a really important topic that I think most people really neglect, and they end up losing quite a lot of money because they choose not to spend time on this. And the reality is we are in a bull market in a sense. This could change, obviously, like today, for example, but I do think we're going to keep going on a bull run. And, you don't want to be someone who's just lost a lot of money because you weren't in control of your emotions. So I hope this helps. Let me know if these kinds of videos actually help you out. That way I can, consider doing them again. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and thank you.